All right, everyone, it's another weekend. It's time for more weekenders. But before we get into it, I've brought Warren briefly on the show. Warren, you've got some updates or something to tell us about?
Yeah, I'm not going to stick around because this is Santa Claus weekend, so I have a lot of things to do. But I want to say a massive thank you to everybody who filled in the viewership survey. We've got thousands of responses, okay? And the good news is, Lloydie, that basically we seem to be doing everything right. Yeah! No, there are one or two areas. There was a lot of really good suggestions in there. So we're going to take some time over the Christmas period and digest all that, and then come back in 2016. Kicking ass and taking names.
I thought we were going to take time off during Christmas, not analyze data.
No, I'm going to do some data analysis. But
I'm taking time off. I'm going to see my family for a week.
Right, as cool as all of that is, all right, the big announcement for the start of the show is we are now officially opening the nominations for the 2015 Gaming Awards. This is it, people. These are the People's Choice Awards, okay?
Right, so hang on. Does that mean we're all doing this again?
Yes.
Can you believe it's been almost a year?
Yeah.
It has. So the People's Choice Awards are going to broadcast towards the end of January, okay? We have changed the categories this year because it's our second year in. And the reason these awards are I think they're so much fun is because it's all by you. The nominations are distilled from your choice of the nominations, and the winners are picked by you. Okay?
Yeah.
The categories for this year are Best Miniatures Game of 2015. So that's your kind of your war games, your skirmish games, and things like that. We have Best Board or Card Game of 2015. So anything that is kind of in the big box and it was a board game. So if it's a board game with miniatures, it still fits into the board game category. Okay? We have the Best Game Expansion of 2015. So that might be an expansion of a board game, or it might be an expansion of a war game, like an army book or a theater or something like
new
that.
Supplements.
We have another really interesting new category, the Best Gaming Artwork of 2015. Ooh. So, if you've seen a piece of artwork that has just blown you away, that's been in a product that has been released during the eligibility dates.
So this is what? Box covers, artwork in books, artwork on cards, all that sort of stuff?
Yep. We have the Best Gaming Accessory of 2015. So that's anything really can fit in there if it doesn't fit into the other categories. We have the Best Terrain Product of 2015.
I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, we have the Best Paint Job of 2015. So that could be a studio paint job, or it could be one of the winners or something like that from a competition, or maybe just something that somebody has painted that hasn't received any major recognition yet. So we find the best paint jobs. We're going to try and track down who painted them, and we have the Best Paint Job of 2015. And then finally, we have the Best Model Kit of 2015. That's any tabletop gaming model kit, whether that be a box with a unit in it, or a box with a vehicle or something like that. And any model kit released for gaming in 2015.
I assume that includes a terrain model kit then?
No, that would come under the Best Terrain Product of 2015. Okay. Right.
I thought it was better to ask.
Sitting there thinking, how can I find a loophole here?
How can I find a loophole? Yeah, it's typical gamer. He's trying to meta the competition and break the game already. Anyway,
how do people actually come over and fill this form?
Okay, there's it's on the website. Okay. Hopefully there's banners appearing on the website now of the 2015 Gaming Awards. You click on that, it'll take you through to a page with the nominations. You fill that in. On the second page, if you want to enter a competition, because we're going to be doing a giveaway, okay? We have a Beasts of War big mega box of interesting things. We're being very careful not to be mentioning individual products and things like that during all of this, because we don't want to influence the thing. This is all about your choices, not our choices, okay? So we've got a big mega box which is full of cool stuff. And one lucky winner who has either filled in the form and said, yes, I want to enter the nominations form, or later who has filled in the actual voting forms and said, yes, I want to enter, will be the winner of that big box of awesomeness.
Okay.
Yep.
Right. Awards night.
Okay.
So the awards night, we will have a few shows on the run up to the awards, but then on awards night itself, I was wondering if maybe you guys would fancy organizing your own little kind of dinner parties and gaming evenings where you can get all dressed up, because this is the Oscars now of gaming. Okay. Unfortunately, we don't have the big fancy venues, but we have something better than that. We have the world's most awesome community, and we have planet Earth. And we have this great thing called internet. So I'm having a brainstorm about some cool stuff we could be doing. So if you fancied getting some of your friends and getting all decked up, you might get the whole decky bow and stuff on, or just get it dressed up nice.
Oh wait, we have to get them. We have to get the suits out again.
Oh yes, the suits and the cheap plonk, is coming out. We're going to do this properly. And if you would like to join in at home, drop us open a forum topic, go on there and say, let's organize an award nights parties all around the world where you can all get together, drink cheap plonk, play some games, and interact with us. And we might be able to, when the awards actual finals video or whatever goes out, we might be able to do some bits and pieces of live stuff or something like that, possibly with you guys. We're not sure yet. We're still working out what we can do, but let's turn it into a worldwide party. It's an opportunity for us to get dressed up with our friends, celebrate the best that the industry has to offer, celebrate the best gaming community on the planet. Oh! And then finally, while talking about the best gaming community of the planet, we also have another little forum for Beasts of War community members to nominate other Beasts of War community members who have done something that they have either admired or has helped them or something like that during the year. And it's just a little recognition thing we're doing for community members, because there's a lot goes on, and sometimes we don't get to see everything that happens and how community members help each other out or inspire each other or do things like that. So it's a little opportunity for you to nominate other fellow community members who think it would be good for us to take a moment and just give them a mention, give them a shout out, and say, look, you're awesome.
Cool stuff, right? If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, come on over to the website and jump in, get involved, because it's going to be great.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm going to leave you guys.
Yes.
Get on with the show, and come on over and get nominating.
It's time for 28mm World War II action. Will you recreate history or reshape it your way? On the Bolt Action Hub at beastsofwar.com. Humanity has been driven from Earth, but now it's time to take it back. Join the Reconquest and fight the Scourge on the Drop Zone Commander Hub at beastsofwar.com.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Weekender. Yes, time for another epic show of everything: miniatures, board games and card games, and of course Kickstarters, because we all love Kickstarters.
No, we love card games. All the card games. Love the card games.
We all love the Kickstarters. Right, I'm Lloyd, I'm joined by John.
Hello.
Justin.
Morning, guys.
And via the net, we have Ben. Say hello,
Who's
Ben.
tiny?
Hello guys.
Tiny
Hello.
in the bottom corner of the screen.
He's tiny, because we're hoping to introduce him into the news segment.
Yeah.
Because a lot of you guys were going, I want more Ben! I want more Ben!
Right.
So here you go.
So the plan is, we're going to England next year. We're
Right.
kidnapping Ben, bringing him back in a sack. I'll keep him under the stairs.
We could probably convince Ben to fly over and then stick him in a sack. It's cheaper.
No sticking of me in sacks. That's okay. Sorry.
Right. I'm going to move us on before this gets silly.
Yes.
Let's get kicked off with some news. I've got on the running order here some news coming out of Privateer Press. There's new Trollbloods and Khador Warjacks.
Yeah,
Justin, you want to
they've
pick up on
redone
that?
two of the Warjack kits in plastic. So this is the Grular, and on the left side of the screen you have the Kodiak.
Yes.
Now, these are two of the classic jacks. They've been out for a long time, but they're now making their way to plastic. We're also seeing a new Trollbloods unit, which is quite nice as well.
Okay.
So, new stuff, and I like the fact that they're going for more plastic, because that's going to make life a lot easier for people.
Okay. I don't really play War Machine. Ben, do you play any War Machine?
I've played a little bit of War Machine, and I do play Khador. The Kodiak and the Grolar are some awesome Warjacks. I like their big, heavy, up close and personal style. Awesome. So
Yeah, well, I mean, like, the Grolar is one of those versatile jacks you can put it anywhere, because you can actually throw into close combat, and it can still shoot.
Yeah.
The other thing is, its melee weapon has an auto knockdown on it, which means you keep feeding it focus till it hits, you knock it down.
I've just cut back to it. So which one are we looking at?
The guy on the right, the
red
Grolar.
one. Yeah.
So basically, you see the way he has that big nasty hammer?
Yes.
As soon as that hits someone, it knocks them down in game, which means you're no longer locked in combat.
Okay.
So you could rock in, knock someone down, and then because of its ability, you can use its gun still. So you could actually rock in, knock someone down, and then shoot at something else that's not in combat with you.
Cool.
So it's a very, very versatile jack, and it's focus hungry, but it does a lot for you. The Kodiak, on the other hand, it's one of the old staples of Khador, because it runs in and it has a steam attack. So all around its base, it'll essentially blast out steam from its heavy boiler, essentially scalding hot steam. If you run this into lots of infantry, it's a bad day.
Jono, I know you don't really play War Machine and stuff.
He used to.
But from a painting point of view, have you painted many Warjacks? Is it the sort of thing you actually like painting up?
I've painted a few Warjacks, yeah, but I've never been able to settle on a colour because I've always wanted to. As Ben giggles in the corner, it's like I like Khador, but I don't want to paint them red. I am very tired of seeing red Khador, so that's why I like.
Do you not
the
get like
Kodiak.
is there not like a creamy white faction?
That's Menoth. John has tried that as well.
I've tried Menoth as well, and they were worse to paint.
No, I do remember you did a Man of War years ago, which you did a very nice winter scheme on. So it was all very pale creams and stuff.
Is this something that War Machine players tend to just say, well, I have to paint these colours and that's it?
You get some people that do that, but you get some people that just go, no, my faction, I'm painting them as like a sub-faction of Khador.
There's normally, if this was 40k and I said to John, what about this Space Marine? You go, I paint whatever the heck colour I want.
Yeah, a lot of Khador I see is either red winter scheme or like the Kodiak on the image there is like an olive green with a bit of red through it. So that seems to be like sort of the three colours they paint them in.
Yeah, I would say for War Machine, you are best sticking to faction colours just to make it easier to recognise for your opponent. But some people just want the artistic freedom to go, everything.
Right. Cool, fair enough. Looking forward to those. But I do spy something down here, just on the topic of,
Now,
of
we
War Machine
saw a
and
new
Hordes
Khador
and
unit
things.
there as well.
Yes.
As well as that, there's a new book for Hordes coming out soon. Or it may already be out. But we got a package through. And what we got is something quite special. We have the Glacier King.
Ooh.
So this is the second Gargantuan for the Trollbloods faction. If I throw it under close camera here, if I can get him not to be all shiny.
Yeah, he's shiny. He's shiny, Justin.
The box is shiny, and the mini is quite shiny too. I would like one of these. But this, as I said, is the second Gargantuan for the Trollbloods faction. So the first one you had is the Mountain King, which is...
He's the one, is he the one we've seen with like clubbing people with trees and stuff during their dioramas and stuff recently?
Yeah, basically he's a gigantic ancient Trollblood. So the very embodiment of the hunger of the Trollblood war beasts. They were locked away in the earth because their hunger was too great. They were eating everything. And then recently in the War Machine fluff, they've been unleashed upon the world. This guy is a Gargantuan from the Northern Wastes. So you can see there's a design difference in it because this guy is all about frost and ice, and that's reflected in his rules as well. So if I crack him open here, we'll start to see just how massive this actual kit is. So Lloyd, if you take those, and I will grab out some of the components here. Now, he's a metal resin hybrid kit. And John, I will give this to you because I want you to pass me the little bits.
All right.
So first things first.
So you've given me the cards. I'll hold on to these for a while.
Right. Yep. You have your base.
Yeah.
This thing is ridiculously big. Have a look at the size of this.
Ooh, that is pretty big, isn't it?
Yeah. So this is your standard Gargantuan / battle engine base.
Yeah.
But when you look closer,
look
at
let's
the
get
size of
tighter
his
on
body.
that.
And that's just his upper body. That's not even his legs yet.
Looks class.
The detailing on it's really nice. And unlike the Mountain King, the spikes off of this guy are ice, so they're a lot sharper in their detail. In fact, if I grab the big raised part from his back, you can see snow drifts and stuff on him.
Yes.
So you can imagine him walking through the Iron Kingdoms, actually bringing
that
massive
is really cool.
amounts of cold with
just
him.
all of that stuff there is all where the snow's accumulated.
Yeah, as he walks forward through it. So this guy sort of generates his own blizzard. You've got the same on his arms here, where you've got these big, nasty icicle spikes. So, John, if you pass me a couple of the other components here.
Right.
So, this, I believe, is a part of his actual jaw.
Oh, let me get closer for you.
So you've got the ice crystals hanging down, and then
Yes.
you've got these big, rocky, outcropping teeth.
It is.
Which
Bring
are
over the
scary.
box, actually, and I'll have a look at the picture there.
Yeah, yeah.
So, hold on. So we were just looking at this bit
Yeah,
here.
so this is the very front of his jaw,
Yes.
because when you see his face itself, you have more of these massive ice crystals from his
That's
screen
glass.
face.
Look at that face.
Yeah.
So this
Face is amazing.
sits on here.
Tilt it up a bit. I know it's going to
I'm
fall
very-
off.
No, I've got
Keep
it.
going. Go for it. Turn it. Do it. Tilt it. Show it. That's just class. Because I want you to see his gaping mouth, because that's just one of the coolest things about
Yeah.
this.
Well, I mean, like, the Trollbloods have always been one of the most characterful factions to me.
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
You know, they're big, well, each faction has its own playstyle. The Trollbloods, they're the brick. They are big, they are solid, they are hard to kill. And that's what you're going to get with this once you actually put them down on the
Oh,
tabletop.
man. You've just
Yeah.
been handed the claws.
The hands.
Oh, look at these things.
The detail on them is really great for all the veins and skin texture, and then even down to sort of icy, broken chipped nails.
That's how he looks at that
So,
from behind as well.
yeah.
The
Look at
detail
all
on
the-
hands
The
is
Look at
actual
all
amazing.
that.
detail inside the hands for all the lines and stuff. The guys have done a really nice sculpt job on this.
We could get his future red.
That's a bit of an unusual one.
the future. I see many deaths in your future, my
No, no.
friend.
I see the future. It's cold. That's it. It's just cold. Cold as ice.
I thought you were going to do a word play on icy future.
Oh,
Well,
that's
at least you
terrible.
didn't do the ice baby.
Right. What have we got
So
here?
we've got
Justin?
his feet.
Yeah.
Again, ridiculous amounts of detail on these for the actual skin and other parts of him.
He has 2 feet.
the actual skin and other parts of it.
Well, the
and
skin, the
stuff.
nails, the musculature, the way it's actually sculpted and designed to go together, if we're going to be specific.
Well, yeah, you can't just throw something like that out and leave it hanging.
He's running out of words.
We've then got his actual loincloth, which is all made up of bear pelts, which is really nice.
Well, that is kind of cool. There's a bear head. There's
Yeah.
another bear head.
Yeah, so how
All
many
the
bears
paws.
does it take to clothe this man? I think about 3 or 4 here.
Yeah, probably.
Again, it's something you don't really see too often these days, is a really nice fur detail on something.
Yeah.
And this has came out really nicely, I think. What do you think, Lloyd?
Yeah, it looks sweet. Let me just get. I'm gonna have a look at the box because
Yeah,
I'll just get an idea.
the box
from
has
that
the
as
pretty,
well.
pretty pictures.
You're making yourself sound really old. These days, you don't see a decent fur job everywhere.
No, that's something I've noticed. That's something I've noticed. Within the last 5 years of gaming,
Right.
we have seen leaps and bounds in the actual sculpt quality. Tell me I'm wrong.
Okay, so basically your strapline is there isn't enough fur jobs now in 2015.
What the hell is wrong with you? I thought
what
I
you
was
just
safe
said.
far away. No, what I'm saying is the sculpt quality is better, but there are some things that have been lost along the way.
I'm with you on that.
I agree, yes.
Okay, more
Move on.
components because there is a lot left over. So we have more of the big ice formations
just
that go onto
class.
them, which are really nice. Again, more of that really nice snow detail. I wonder if someone's actually going to use a snowflock on this.
Is that a hint?
Ooh, I don't know.
I don't know.
I would.
We also have some of the ornamentation for him. So this looks like bones and horns that he's ripped off of something.
While Lloyd checks out the box art to find
Of
them.
course, Lloyd always will.
No,
check
I'm
out
looking
the
at this idea of flocking them
Yeah,
with snow.
It could work.
it could work. Now, the one thing I do notice is that this guy, unlike the Mountain King, doesn't have the actual whelps hanging off him like the Mountain King did, because whenever you actually injured it, you could generate whelps, which it could then eat. And by eating them, it heals.
Yes.
So I think if I was actually taking this guy out to the tabletop, I would probably take a unit of whelps with him,
Okay.
just so that he would have something to snack on, because the whelps are actually a comfort food. It's actually one of the rules. So basically, as he takes damage, he can eat them and reduce his fury, which is something that's very big for the horde side of things.
Right.
Because if a beast has too much fury on it at the end of the round, it'll frenzy, and it'll attack the nearest thing to it, even if that's your own guys.
Yes.
So I've actually seen games where people have been silly, ran their beast too hot, and it has just went and munched the warlock. So having something
What?
like that,
And
yeah,
game over.
yeah,
Wait a minute. Run that past me again.
right.
munched his own warlock.
Yes, whenever he frenzies. So
That's
if you,
just brilliant.
for you if you're playing against it. But
No, in general, that's just epic.
yeah, well,
You are running with
trust
that
me,
risk.
some of the rules used to let you actually shoot your own guys in combat with AoEs to hit someone who was a higher defense, because
Yeah.
the AoE was not hit after that.
I knew about that, but I didn't know you could field the beast with each your own warlock.
Pretty much any war beast, if you play it wrong like that and leave your warlock too close, it'll come and munch it. You know,
What do you think, Ben? That sounds
it's a nice
exciting to
mechanic.
hear.
I really like Hordes over War Machine, and that's one of the aspects that I really enjoy about it. I love the frenzy mechanic and sort of pushing your animals a bit too far and stuff like that. It always comes out with some amazing cinematic moments and stuff when you're playing. Yeah.
Right,
I think I'd probably, if I was playing this game, I'd probably get eaten all the time, because I can imagine me on the field constantly prodding.
go,
Go,
essentially.
It's like
riling
me.
the
It's
beast
like me
up.
on a night out, Justin. Do you remember that night I was poking that guy in the pub?
No, that was you and Warren. I went out with you one night and never again. But
I was trying to frenzy him.
but we also have the stat cards. Now I'm sure
Yeah.
a lot of the Hordes players out there are wanting to see this. So if you go to the closest camera for me.
Yes.
So you've got his damage spiral. And
Oh,
his
that's
three
really
aspects.
nice looking.
That is nice, isn't it?
It's got some really nice artwork. His weakness is looking to be his mind. So basically, once you take out the aspects, you lose certain abilities. So if you
Right.
hit his body, he loses an ability. If you take his spirit, he loses an ability.
Right.
But weapons-wise, he has a ranged attack, and he has two big ice fists.
Yeah.
The ranged attack has a couple of nice abilities on it. So it's called Wind Thrower. So this is him basically breathing freezing air onto you. Whenever you're hit with that, you get knocked back D3, or
Yeah.
you can get knocked down,
Yeah.
which is one of the things I really love about this game, because as soon as you're knocked down, your defense goes to hell. The other thing is, he can actually make people stationary with a big frosty fist, so he's punching them, and it's that cold, they become stationary for a round. Again, their defense goes all the way
that's
down.
really cool. So his fists are so cold they freeze you in the spot.
Pretty much. Unless you have immunity to cold, which some people do have. You know, so the game is very much about status effects. He is immune to cold himself, and he causes terror. So anybody that gets into melee with him, if they're
Yeah.
not fearless, that's a command check straight off the bat. So they actually have to see, are they brave enough to fight this monster?
You're kind of exciting me for this. I haven't really got into the whole Warmer Hordes
Like,
type
I'll tell
thing.
you what.
Wait, let me just put you on the spot.
Okay.
Ben,
Yes.
War Machine or Hordes? You're leaning towards Hordes, aren't you?
Hordes and Trollbloods for the win.
Yes.
That's my side.
Justin, War Machine or Hordes?
War Machine, but I can still play against you playing Hordes.
I'm really liking this Trollblood stuff.
Well, I have a starter set at home. If you want, I'll take you through a demo game. I just
I
have
think-
to hunt out my old cards.
I think this. Do they all look like this sort of blue troll thing, don't they?
It's sort of. It's sort of more of a greeny blue whenever it's the normal ones.
You
Yeah.
could just paint them to be themed to him.
Oh yeah. You could just paint them as a northern tribe.
Because
You know,
I kind
although
of like.
you will have to paint tartan.
What?
Well, you don't have to paint
Have
tartan.
they got tartans?
Yeah, they have tartan.
You can
They're
buy-
all like Scottish themed and stuff. It's
I'll
great.
get my
Yeah.
own tartan on it then.
Did you
get
find
some-
your own tartan?
It's really boring though, John. It's just, my tartan's the most boring tartan
Boring
in the
tartan
world.
perhaps means easy to paint.
It's green
Right,
with a couple of blue stripes.
right. Well, my family's
And
is
that's about
red
it.
and green with a double yellow bar.
Oh,
the only
how
one-
fancy pants are you?
The only one I
yeah,
find
my brother
with my
found it when he
name,
visited Scotland.
the only tartan I found with my name is friggin' purple, yellow, and black, and I was like, that is actually kind of cool. I kind of want that.
Yeah, my
Look at
brother
his
also
face.
found the old clan motto as well when he went to Scotland,
I'm miserable. All you guys have more cooler looking.
and possibly a cooler motto.
I may have to start wearing
No,
kilts.
you don't have a cooler motto.
All right, for my clan it was Sweet Danger.
Okay, he has a cooler motto.
Yeah, I don't know what mine is.
Ben, you don't have any Scottish roots, do you?
Well, my family is sort of Scottish back way in history, but we have sort of like a checkered past in the sense that the Shaw clan kind of ran away from a lot of battles.
Right.
So
You're
we
in a
sort of
really big
scattered
yellow stripe in
after
your
the
kilt.
English
for that.
beat us up. So
So we have a runaway clan
Yeah.
and a clan that got chucked out for rustling sheep.
Yeah. My the
put it
family
politely.
legend says our family got kicked out of Scotland for nicking sheep.
Right, we're doing really well there, aren't we?
Well, that's
And I have a crap tartan that I don't like the colours of. And you've got a
No
really
interesting
cool
history.
Anyway.
You were probably a bookkeeper clan. You were probably keeping tally of all the sheep mine were nicking.
Possibly. Right, I'm going to move us on.
Okay.
Now,
off that topic.
I'm going to move us on to talking about Wolsung. They've got a new gigantic golem out,
Oh yes.
which is appropriate to talk about because we've just looked at a big nasty creature.
Yeah.
Check this one out.
What's better than a big, stumpy steampunk robot? What do you think, Ben?
I think this is possibly one of the coolest things they have ever done. I can't wait to see the scenarios that you could play with this guy. Like, I could see this being fantastic with a whole bunch of different gangs fighting around this as it's like rampaging through some steampunk city somewhere. I think it'd be amazing. So,
Well, I mean, like, I look at it and I just imagine a big construction facility where this thing's being built, and you know the clubs are trying to get in to get control of it. I think it would be a really nice scenario to play.
yeah.
It is the most awesome looking mini they've ever made, in my opinion. It really appeals to me. Don't get me wrong, MicroArt do some really cool minis,
Yep.
especially in the Volsung sort of
They do
sphere
one of my
things.
favourites, Alexander Armstrong.
But this thing,
Yeah.
let me bring it up again.
Yeah.
Oh, I want it.
And you can actually see how big it is because you can see the little mechanic beside him.
It's massive, and I absolutely want it. The problem I have with it is it's a bit ornate looking.
I don't know, I like
no,
that. I always like that about Wolsung.
It's not ornate enough, in my opinion.
Well, no, it's looking down around the legs and stuff. For what I'd want to use it for, it's far too ornate for me.
Okay.
Look, go
What
cycle
would
through
you
the
use
pics
it for?
again.
All right.
Well, you know me, it'd probably end up being some sort of World War type thing.
All right.
Oh, well, hang on. You
But-
could have a very, very ornate, Russian piece, maybe.
All the decorative stuff just doesn't really work for me.
I don't know. I really like it. I mean, like, I suppose it is all over the place because you can see it on the back and on the sides.
It's not overly ornate. I mean, we've seen plenty of models that have a lot more ornamentation on them.
I just-
Well,
I
for a
just
steampunk
think-
mini, it is mild.
I just think it would have been cooler looking if it didn't necessarily need. Well, that's just my opinion. It doesn't necessarily need all the fancy stuff, but then it wouldn't really be in keeping with the world.
No, it wouldn't have that sort of Victorian Edwardian style.
Yes,
Yeah.
where everything's over the top. I mean, all you
yeah.
need to do is look at traction engines, for goodness sakes. They're basically big tractors, and yet they look beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. Well, why don't you get one of those then and paint it up like one of the old steam engines and do all that really fine filigree lining around it? Make it even more ornate just to make the other ornamentation fit.
Because he's metal, and I don't buy metal models.
Is he metal?
Yeah,
Come on.
he's a big metal model.
There is nothing wrong with metal models.
Ben,
You just
he's a
take
me-
your time with them.
It's a metal model, isn't it?
I think he's resin. I think.
Is he?
I think it makes
Yeah,
sense to
I
have
think he's
that as
resin. Yeah.
Am I just talking out my
Yes,
this whole
possibly.
metal thing? Ben, you look it
Yeah.
up there while you're on the. You can briefly look it up and just double check that for us.
Yes,
Okay.
I can.
So-
No, I'm fairly sure that he's a resin model, a resin construction. So
Well, I'm definitely.
Well, I do like the fact that he is running around with a lamppost in his hand.
Yes. I think
I think that's a very cool thing.
Right, the other cool thing is they've got a video up all about using the guy. There's 16 minutes worth of video on YouTube.
Yeah.
Ben, did we get that added into the webpage on the site?
yeah, it's on their website as well now, so you can go and watch it.
Yeah, so if you just find this, you can find it embedded there, and it's the same fellow come over. I'm trying to
Lucas?
Lucas.
Yes, for
Who came
Wolsung
up-
Stratagem.
Yeah, it's him again with another fella from MicroArt, and they're going through playing with him and stuff. And it's 16 minutes of it. And it looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
It does look very good. Right, I'm going to take a quick break. We'll tell you about some hubs, and then we're going to be back for some more news.
Flames of War brings you the battles of World War II in epic 15mm scale. Go to the hub on beastsofwar.com to find news, tactics, and tutorials about the game. Anime cyberpunk style meets skirmish combat in Infinity. Experience 8 high-tech factions and fight to control the human sphere at the Infinity Hub on beastsofwar.com.
Welcome back, everyone. Right, let's continue on with the news. Jono,
Yes.
something that's probably going to appeal to you. Justin, let's get the pictures up.
All right.
What are
the
we
guys
looking
at
at
Warlord
here?
Games?
This is Warlord Games. Warlord Games are now for their bolt action range bringing out US infantry with winter gear on. So this is
Ooh.
late 1944, early 45. These guys fighting through in the Ardennes, the Battle of the Bulge, and all that sort of stuff.
Right, so this is sort of
Through-
Bastogne era?
Yeah, this is like November, December 1944, and then straight through to like March, April time 45.
Yeah.
It looks a little bit like the Band of Brothers stuff,
It does a little bit, and for the most
but I take
part,
it as a different unit.
well, this is just US infantry, so
Okay.
just anybody.
unit.
But you could do them as airborne because the airborne were essentially wearing the same kit by that stage of the war. They had no more parachute jumps they were doing, so they didn't wear their jump boots, they didn't wear all their other gear. But
I would have said, the infantry you saw in Fury with Brad Pitt
Yes,
and all?
yes.
I would say it was closer to that.
What do you think, Ben?
I really like these. I love anything that's winter themed because I think it provides an amazing contrast to between the models and the surfaces and the landscapes that they run around in. Like I think it's really awesome seeing this stuff come out now. I think it'll add to like a whole range of different bolt action armies that are coming out. They do more winter stuff for them. Yeah,
I like it too. Normally I don't really go in for the winter stuff, but what it does do is it makes the US force look really different.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because normally you don't really see the US. You see them in their green khaki uniformy type looking thing, but you don't see them in the big coats and stuff.
Yeah.
What are these big coats called?
These are just called great coats.
They're just called great.
Yeah, I believe there's an M19 something number to go with them.
And I love all the different colours they're getting in, because you're getting greens, you're getting the tans, you're getting that browny coat.
You're getting the guys that are wearing the later war American infantry uniform, which is the M43 uniform. You've got buckle boots instead of normal gaiters that they used to wear. You know, that high leg gaiter they had?
I guess what I'm driving at is you've got the opportunity to introduce
Variation.
a lot of different colours now into US Army, rather than looking at the table and going, it's all shades of green, isn't it?
Yeah.
The one thing I might house rule for playing bolt action with these guys is actually throw in some winter condition rules.
That could be
So
interesting.
some rough weather conditions to actually play with your line of sight, or maybe something like you can't travel too far away from your.
Yeah, that'd be really
Yes, and
interesting.
stuff like
I'd like
that.
to see that happen in sort of narrative scenarios. That'd be good. Yeah.
Like trench foot.
Aye.
No, you're a horrible thing.
Mike, what the hell is wrong with you?
War is horrible, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
War is hell.
Maybe I don't understand what trench foot actually is. Is it not where your feet have got frozen?
No, it's where your
No,
feet
that's-
start to rot.
Why do
Yes.
they do that? Because they're all
Because
in water all
you
the
get
time?
too much
Yeah,
water
and
and
the
mud and
trenches,
stuff
yeah.
in through them. You don't get time to take your boots off and let your feet dry or anything like that.
Yeah, what you're talking about is frostbite.
Yeah, well,
That's where your foot goes black.
either one of them would affect your movement. Why can't I roll for that?
I think you're taking the details a little too far on this.
What? Too
Yeah,
gruesome?
saying cold weather conditions is a lot different from saying, okay, he's falling
Half of your
apart.
infantry is dying of terrible
Yes,
cold.
horrible diseases. Yeah, but let's just say foul weather conditions.
Okay.
Right. What else we have is 2 new vehicles.
Yeah,
well,
Both come out in one kit.
It's 2 new vehicles that come in one kit. We have the very famous M8 armoured car, also known as the Greyhound, and the M20 utility vehicle, which is not known as the Greyhound, and people need to stop confusing it.
Why would the M8 armoured car be famous?
The M8 armoured car was famous because it was nicknamed the Greyhound because when those things are driving around, they can do nearly 60 miles an hour and they are very quiet. So it's a fast, light, armoured reconnaissance vehicle.
So famous in your world, Don, because when I'm sitting here looking at it going, famous? I don't...
It's
new to
famous
me.
in every world except the circles you go in, Lloyd. You clearly, because you like trains and stuff like that.
You see,
So, wait, it's like the Sherman of armoured cars then, is it?
Yeah, it's fast, it's light, it's quiet when
And
it's
it's
on the
cute.
move. It's not cute.
the Greyhound is a cute vehicle.
Let's see this up close.
That is a cute vehicle.
It has got a bug-eyed thing going on.
It does have a bit of a bug-eyed thing going on, yeah.
What do you
but-
think, Ben?
I actually quite like. Well, I didn't used to like armored cars, and then I started looking at some of the American ones, and they're a lot better. Like I saw some of the German like half-track type things and things like that, and I wasn't overly won over by them, but I do like the American
Sacrilege,
ones.
Ben.
That's because they look crap, isn't it?
Sacrilege. all of you,
that's not
sacrilege.
even counting the Belinda, Auto Belinda.
That's Italian.
That's Italian.
That's Italian.
That's what I think when I think armored car. This
Oh, no.
actually does look kind of cool.
When I hear armored car, I think Puma.
yeah, the German 8-wheeled.
Now that's a beautiful piece of engineering.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
with 2 drivers.
of course.
But yeah,
Clearly. German engineering, you need 2 drivers.
Yeah, previously, again, this is another Warlord kit that's went from resin and metal to plastic.
Yeah, so it's plastic kit.
Yep.
I take it you get 3 in the box.
We get 3 in the box, and I believe it's enough sprues to make 3 of either or a
variant.
mixture.
Oh, that's
So you-
cool. Leftovers.
Yeah, so you can, because the M8 and the M20 are basically the same vehicle, except you take the turret off the M8 and you put this little machine gun ring on the top of the M20, and that's it.
I take it they were like, there's really big aerials on these. I mean, were they
had
mobile
a-
communications? Were they important to that sort of thing, or what's going on? Why?
These guys would have carried one tank radio, which
Yeah.
would have to other vehicles in its section, and would have had either a larger or a smaller radio for communicating with infantry. These are reconnaissance, so these guys were meant to be far ahead of everybody else.
Yeah.
So they needed their long-range antennas and long-range radios to get back to everyone.
Let me
Yeah.
just bring the picture up so everyone can see what we're talking about. Talking about the big aerials that are up there. Ben, last word for you on this?
I really like these. I think they're going to be a good addition. And I mean, it works really nicely with the Winter Infantry that they're coming out with as well. In addition to the Winter Infantry, actually, it should be added. They also do a set of little metal box sets that come with machine guns, and there's also a command element as well, I think, for the US infantry. So there's some extra stuff out there as well to make sure that it's not just your normal this infantry and then regular commanders. You can all tie it all together with a good theme. So.
Yeah.
Cool. Really cool. John?
Yeah,
something
they,
excited to do?
as Ben was saying about the MG crews, the thing that's nice about the MG crew is they're not posed in that typical sort of already set up or just carrying stuff. They're in mid repositioning.
Right.
So you have one guy carrying the gun, and then you have another guy carrying the tripod, and they're all sort of doing that low punched running. So I kind of like that. It's a nice way to go with it. Yes, I'm done now.
I'll tell you what I like. I like the paint jobs on these.
Yeah, they're quite nice.
They're really grimy looking, which is always good for me.
Yes.
Because when I've been painting my tanks and stuff, I've been going for that grimy,
dusty.
seen a lot of action.
Yeah.
Aye, the worn down look.
To the point where I was thinking, I'm a better painter of tanks now than John. Until recently, and then John upped his game. Because I'm going to segue us into something.
Yes.
Okay.
Staying with the bolt action sort of thing, this week on the site there was a new thing went out. We were using the sort of the blogging system to come out with a plug, but we did it all in one day, and we're calling it Parts to Painted.
Yep.
And you did what in this, John?
I did the new Warlord Ersatz Panther.
Yeah. Well, if we get that under camera, what I'll do is I'll search over the website as well, so as we can actually see. This is the finished version.
Yep. So that is what we ended up with.
Yeah, it's sweet looking, John. It's really, really sweet. But there's a whole project plug on the site which I've just brought up.
Yeah.
We'll come back to that in a second.
Yeah.
If I just scroll down, I'll just show you guys, people at home, how you actually get to it. Look at that.
There it is.
There it is. What have we got? 16 updates. So
16
it's
updates.
16 different parts then.
Yeah.
And you literally go from parts to this.
Yes, we start off with a little intro video that shows the completed thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
But then we go on and we do a build video first.
Yeah.
So we actually show, and that video's for the backstagers.
Yeah.
So they can view that and they can see how the model's put together.
Okay.
And
So
then we move on, like if you've got it all up
I've
there.
got the page up.
So
now.
if you scroll down.
Let me bring this up so people at home can see what's going on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's
scroll
the
down.
intro, and then we had the build.
So that's your little introduction,
Yep.
saying what you're going to do.
Mm-hmm. And then that's onto the build video.
Yeah, which is for everybody on backstage.
Sweet.
Then
then
the
we-
first stages of painting, John's plan, where he's going with it.
This is where it gets cool for me, because as you're starting to do all this stuff, we've got all this nice image work and galleries and stuff to support the image, or to support the videos and things. What's going on in this?
This is us. Well, this is me discussing how I was going to start doing pre-shading on the model,
Yes.
which is going from a grey primer, adding some black for shadow and some white for highlight.
Which is cool.
So that's before priming. So that's
Yeah.
using uniform grey primer.
Yeah.
Is there one that is the end result, is it?
Not on this one. Well, if you go
not
back,
that one. If you go to this one.
Yep, that one.
This one.
So that's showing the application of the black spray or the black airbrushing for the shading
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then if we scroll on down from that.
in the next post,
Yeah.
Next post, let me bring it on down.
which is showing.
Green going down, but at the very start of that video, you see the white with the gradients on it.
Yeah, so, because there was a point when I walked into the room, and you had this tank and it was all looking really coolly shaded, and it was all white, but it was all different shades of greys and things. I take it this just at the start of this video.
Yeah. So at the start of this video, Justin's coming in, and you're seeing the tank in that sort of chromatic, that monochromatic look.
Yes.
And I'm starting to apply thin layers of the olive drab over the top of that. That's to retain a bit of shading and modulation on the vehicle.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's go back.
Yeah.
Scroll on. Well, let's pop up some of the pictures actually while we're here.
Yeah.
So that's the tank after the application of the olive drab.
Yeah, and you can really see under the track sections where the black still is holding on.
Well, let me go back.
Because
You can see the
directly at
shading
bottom, you can see it still
underneath.
shining through.
Yeah.
That's
You know,
pretty cool.
So it was a very good technique John had used for it.
Ben, well, I have you on the screen. Did you enjoy this plug?
Yeah, it was really interesting learning about it, actually. Like, I had no idea about the Ersatz Panther at all. Like when I was talking with John about it and learning about how it was a disguised tank, wasn't it? I think,
Yeah.
John.
It was a German tank that the Germans were going to use to pretend to be Americans and cross American lines and start shooting them. And
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just
the one.
it's
yeah.
just as well you mentioned that, Ben, because I completely skipped that, and that's probably the most interesting part of this thing. Let me cut to this on the camera.
Yeah.
Is that this looks like a US tank, but it's
Yeah.
not.
But,
No.
Well, if you look in around the back of the turret here, you can actually start to see all the tin work and stuff that has been put onto a standard Panther turret to actually change its silhouette to the
Yeah.
M10. And even the body has had a lot of tin work as well. If you look around the rear of the vehicle, you can see all of this
Well,
on
turn
the
it-
actual back end.
turn it a bit. There you go.
They've actually hid the twin exhausts to actually just change the profile of the vehicle.
Oh, so there's still exhausts in under these vents, is there?
Yeah, so you can just see them poking up through there. You know, so everything was done that they could to change the silhouette, so that someone at maybe 500 meters would look at that and go, "Oh, that's an M10. Don't need to worry about that."
or provide enough of a moment of pause to go, is that one of ours?
Yeah, so
Not
suddenly
sure.
the turret swings around and gadoosh.
Yeah.
What do you think, John? Did you think they did a good job on that?
What, on the real vehicle or the model?
On the real people disguising their vehicle to look like a US vehicle.
I think
Do
considering
you think that would catch you out?
it would probably catch me out, yeah. At proper distances where they were hoping to be like 500 to 800 meters away, yeah, I would get confused for a moment or two.
Yeah, the same tactic was used with the Panzer IV. One of the later variants actually had a lot of tin work around it to actually make its turret look more like a Tiger turret.
No, that's you're
No?
completely making that up. That's that's
I remember us talking about this on an unboxing at one stage.
Yes, but Justin, you pop up in the middle of the night and you say, "Is that some kind of?"
no, that's shirts and plate on the Panzer IV. Where you're thinking that was a thing to be disguising the vehicle was because at a distance, a British tank gunner would look at it and go, "It's a Tiger," because it looks kinda like it's boxy enough to look like a Tiger. It's not, but that isn't the
okay,
reason why they did
fine. If I'm wrong, I apologise.
it. Sit down.
Let him handle the historical stuff.
Let's go back to the page. So you're
Yep.
making some progress now.
Yep. So that is adding transfers in that post.
Yeah. So we're obviously, let me bring it up again.
So that's
So no
before.
transfers.
That's putting gloss varnish on
Yeah.
to help aid with the application of the transfers, and then that's putting gloss varnish over the transfers again once they've been put down.
Yeah. If you want a bit more detail on that, just come on over to the blog and to the vlog and watch it all.
Yep.
I do like it. I do like scrolling down through and seeing it all broke down because we can do videos and stuff from start
Yeah.
to finish.
Yeah.
But it's hard to digest a video from start to finish unless you have the time. Let's say we did an hour-long video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need an hour to sit and watch it.
Yes.
Whereas this, you can maybe even at work, you can jump in on your lunch break and go, I don't have an hour, but I can watch this one particular part of the video because I'm following along at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Or
I
if,
kind of like that stepped approach.
yeah. Or if you're coming to it going, I have a problem with this particular technique. John does it there. I only have to watch that. I don't have to watch the entire video to find the one bit that I'm really interested in.
Yeah, it's like the best of both worlds, right?
Yeah.
Because on video you can see someone actually do it, whereas in text and pictures you're just relying on the pictures.
Yeah.
The problem with the video is you don't have jump in points.
Yeah.
Whereas if this was a magazine or something like our book, you would just bookmark the page and open it up and go, that's where I am.
Yep.
Close it, go off, have your dinner, and then come back.
Yep.
You can pause the video. But if you've closed the video and it's the next day and you're opening it up again, you're skipping through trying to find the bit. This kind of solves that problem in so much as you can just scroll down the page and go, that's where I was.
Yeah. And none of the videos are particularly long, bar the build.
Yeah.
Although the build is only 15 minutes anyway.
Yeah. The other thing is, with the way this is laid out in the live blog, if you bring it up for me, please, Lloyd.
Yeah.
You see the way each of these has its own entry, and each of them has its own little speech bubble beside it. That means that if you're wanting to discuss a particular step with everybody,
Yeah.
you can drop in and just post your comments on that particular part, so people know, oh, he's talking about that part.
Yeah. Well, there's one coming up on the page now with two
Yeah.
There's a.
comments on that.
It's been kind of funny because the first day we put it up, the comments were a little slow to start. You know, Uncle Jimmy jumped on board and was like, "Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh," on everything. He was like, "This is great, this is great." And then by the time our US viewers were coming online, Oriskany was in there going, "Oh, this is sorcery." He was like describing the pre-shading. He's like, "What do you mean you're using dark and light washes before you put the green on? This is weird." You know.
It did make a very nice finish on the vehicle, though.
Yeah, there's been a lot of excellent feedback on it for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And then by the time you get to the bottom, there is just the general pot of comments where you can discuss in general what's been going on.
Yeah, and the very last thing we stuck in, which I think we're coming to very shortly.
Let me just scroll on down.
Yeah.
That's final weathering, extra detail.
Oh, it's looking interesting. Let me just bring this up. What's going on? What's with all the purpley looking stuff here, John?
That's gloss varnish going over the pigment work that I did earlier.
Really? It looks purple.
Yeah, but
is that just the lighting?
It dries gloss. Mm-hmm. So that's me taking the mud effect that I made earlier and then making it look wet around the edge of the wheels so that the tank looks like it's still moving through wet mud, but the stuff in the middle of the wheels dried up over time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
This is great. I should paint tanks more often. So as John goes, I have to step up my game. He thinks he knows how to paint tanks.
And the very last thing we did, which you see on the blue screen, is a nice 360 of it.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
To some epic music.
Let's bring this up though. One of the cool things I like about this tank, John, is just as I do that. What's going on? Is this gloss on a brush, or what's with the?
Yeah, this is gloss on a brush that's been streaked down the side of the turret, just to represent like rain and water.
You know, if I wasn't doing deserty based stuff, this would be definitely something I would be doing. This streaky look, because it just adds that extra element of not realism but life to the tank, as if it's. There is some more streaking somewhere else. I'll go back to this bit.
It's not a tank that's sat in a very dry environment and looks really dry and is dry. It has a little extra to it. It's like just to emphasize the point.
So basically, it's like late autumn in Europe whenever you're starting to get heavy rains and stuff following Elda down.
Goes really well with the muddy tracks and stuff.
Yeah.
Excellent stuff. Anybody got anything else to say about that, Ben, just before we move on?
Nice. I'm looking forward to more from this kind of series of videos. If we do more like this, it'd be great.
Yeah.
So
well, we're thinking about it, right?
Yeah, of course we are.
Do you know what? What's wrong with this? We could do this. We could do this as a plug.
You could try my snowflock idea.
Yeah, we could try that. Yeah, we could.
We'll see.
Yep.
Oh, we got to do this, John. we got to do this. We have to do it.
Oh yeah. Okay.
All right. So the Glacier King.
We got to do it.
Yeah.
Because it's just class looking. I mean, let me just throw it. It's a bit of a task now, John, to be able to compete with this picture.
Well,
I'm gonna say,
do
do that, John. Make us that.
If I could,
you want that exact color scheme?
Talk about putting someone on the spot.
I wouldn't say do that exact color scheme. I would say let John build it and see what he can artistically create.
Well, I walk around him going, I want this. I want this.
I can guess why with your enthusiasm that I've seen.
I think it's be kind of difficult, though.
You think so?
I don't know. John's handy enough with an airbrush. I'd say he could match that.
Possibly.
We'll leave it up to you.
Yes.
But yes, the Glacier King would be like.
It would be a really fun one.
To
Basing would be really fun to do on it as well.
Basing would be really fun.
I think the build video for it would be quite interesting.
The build video would be 15 minutes. And
it's all big chunky bits that just get stuck together.
Oh, I know, but seeing something that massive come together and then be finished at the end, I think it's something nice.
Fair enough.
Yeah, well, okay then.
Right, I'm going to move us on because there was something that popped up on the website. And it popped up and it kind of vanished again. And I was looking at it going, this is a lot cooler than I think people actually realise. And I think Ben will back me up on this. There's some scenery come up from Manorhouse Workshop called the Abbey Ruins.
Yeah.
Okay? And I believe we have some pictures. Oh, yeah. We'll bring a picture up now. Yeah, take a look. Just check out the Abbey terrain. Now, it popped up, like I said, on the site, and I don't think people really, in my opinion, grasp just how cool this actually is. What do you think, Ben?
I didn't quite realize how awesome this was until I took a better look at it. But these are some really nice modular pieces that form a larger abbey monastery type structure, and this would be fantastic for fantasy, historical. I bet you could even fit this into sci-fi somehow actually as well. It'd be fantastic, great to play around inside this. It'd be perfect for Frostgrave actually, thinking about it.
Really good stuff. Just as Justin's flicking through the pictures, what screamed out at me, can you go back to one of the pictures with a lot of bits together?
Yeah. I've got a nice L-shaped one here.
Right, now check this out, Ben. Now, normally when you get dungeoneering terrain, which is essentially what this is, it's corridor, room, corridor, room, corridor, room.
Yeah, as if you're tunneling through a mountain.
Whereas if you look at this, it's more like it feels more like a video game map in so much as It's an environment you're playing through, and all the panels go together. There can be separate dioramas,
Yep.
Yeah.
or you could do like a separate little scenario on one panel.
Yeah.
But if you bunch them all together, because that's an L shape, but I'm sure you could put in 6 all beside each other and basically make a gaming table with it.
Yeah,
Let me bring it up
definitely.
close. What I get the feeling of is it's more of an environment to play through, and you're going dungeoneering. Can you bring up the one with the miniatures in it? And you're dungeoneering through something, but you're not feeling like you're stuck in corridor room, corridor room.
Yeah, well, you see, I like the idea that you would maybe start out with just one of these tiles on your table,
Yes.
and then as you move out and explore the other tiles, suddenly the rest of the world's becoming revealed to you.
That'd be a really good idea. I'd like to see that. That'd be awesome.
You know, and
yeah.
then your dungeon master can lay traps and stuff for you. So, you've went into the wrong tile.
We'll go back to, there's a tile, there's one that looks like a throne room.
Throne room.
So it's like a...
I think I have it. I think I have it.
No, not that one.
No.
It's like an L, but in the other direction.
No,
not that one.
not that one. Is it this one?
Yes! Jackpot!
That is not a throne room. That is a crypt.
Okay.
Well, whatever.
I think it's meant to be like
Or an
the
altar,
main
maybe.
bit in a church. You know, you got the pillars at the sides
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the altar at the end. I think it's that. So.
Yeah.
Well, it's all an abbey, but even that, you can see that I think you could lift most of these tiles and just slot them together in whatever way you wanted,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it would
yeah.
still function relatively well.
Yeah.
The thing now, and I think Ben would agree with me on this, is Manor House don't really... They have a habit of creating really cool stuff, but not marketing it particularly well.
So
What do you think, Ben?
Yeah, we need to see more stuff from Manhouse. So if you can go, everybody can go and bug them to put more stuff out and stuff like that. That'd be great. Yeah, because I think this would be great. I could see this sitting in the center of a larger table as well, and being this really nice centerpiece and stuff to fight over. It'd be so much nicer. I know they've done some other nice terrain pieces as well, because they've been through Kickstarter a couple of times, I think. And they did some sewers and some nice actual manor houses as well. Some amazing stuff for dungeoneering and things. So
I have a lot of time for Manor House because if you browse around their site, they do a lot of really cool pre-painted stuff.
yeah,
You know, it's like it's about €32 or something for a building. But I'm looking at it going, it's a pretty big, hefty bit of resin. It's all pre-painted and flocked and things like that.
Oh, hang on. You get it out of the box like this?
I don't know about this. I'm talking about other ranges that are on their website.
Okay, fair enough.
That's one of the things is you can go looking for this and they don't quite explain what you're looking at. I'm assuming this is something, it looks about a foot square to me, Ben, sort of resin.
I think that's
isn't
about
it?
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I assume it's resin. It's a hell of a lump of resin.
It could be
Yeah.
resin or that
That hard
polystone
foam stuff.
Possibly.
You know, polystone that's like, it's kind of like resin, but it's more plasticky, but it's quite heavy.
I like the idea of even just getting maybe 4 of these, lining them up on my gaming shelf and just laying my miniatures into them so that they look pretty whenever I'm not using them.
Well, I quite like the idea Ben had of it being a feature on a gaming table. Let's say your Kings of War game, Justin, because you're pretty well back into Kings of War.
Yeah.
You know, it could be like a dwarven sort of thing.
Yeah.
See, I don't know if I would use it for Kings of War just because the terrain's a little bit tight.
I definitely use it for
I
Frostgrave.
suppose
That'd be the one for me.
Frostgrave
so.
would be a good example.
Yeah.
I would use it for Age of Sigmar
Age
as well.
of Sigmar, yeah.
It worked
There you
absolutely
go.
perfectly for. You know, any of those games like that. You could even use this if you really want it for a game of Infinity.
Yeah,
As if they've been sent down to Old Earth to an old ruined city.
yeah.
You know, something like that could be fun.
It is cool looking stuff, but just on the Ben's thing, I'm more thinking about it. You could play Kings of War, but just have it off to the side, as in
As a backdrop.
as a backdrop.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just really like it. I really like it.
You're looking for excuses to use it now.
I think everybody should go and check it out because it's just cool.
So, guess what's showing up for Christmas for Lloyd this year?
Oh,
no one's buying it for you.
I don't think it'll be out in time for Christmas. Right, we're going to take a little break and tell you about some hubs, and then we're going to be talking about some medieval fantasy terrain,
Yeah.
which is cool, and we're going to be talking about some other bits and pieces and a cool Slavic miniatures game, aren't we, Ben? Right.
Yeah, coming up soon. Yeah.
Be back in a few seconds.
In a world controlled by massive corporations, a steady aim and split-second decisions are needed for your megacon to complete its goals. Begin your missions at the Mercs Hub on beastsofwar.com. Fight for the Iron Kingdoms as a warcaster. Take control of the mighty jacks, arcane devices, and dark sorceries to bring the fight to the War Machine Hub on beastsofwar.com.
Okay, welcome back. Now we're going to have a look at some medieval terrain, some medieval fantasy terrain. It's a Kickstarter that popped up. It's from Printable Scenery. Now, I've been on their website a few times, and the stuff they're doing is just getting better and better. Take a look at this video.
We'd like to introduce to you Winterdale. Winterdale is a complete modular fantasy medieval city for 28mm tabletop war games and role-playing games. Each model will be delivered as an STL file pack, so you can download it and you can print it on your home 3D printer. We're printablescenery.com. We've been developing and testing our 3D printable models for the last year, and we've perfected the process of creating great 3D printable files. We were the first 3D printable scenery website, and we've had great reviews throughout the world. Pledge Level 1 is the HAMLET. This is a modular cottage collection, 14 individually sculpted modular pieces that can be arranged to create a whole variety of multi-level buildings and bridges. This level also qualifies you for free stretch goal number 1. Pledge Level 2 is the tower, so this is everything in the previous reward level, and it also comes with 5 modular tower building pieces which can be stacked, and 3 gnarly trees which can be printed out at any scale. Pledge Level 3 is the Citadel, so this is everything from the previous 2 reward levels, the Hamlet and the Tower, and it also contains 12 modular castle building pieces. Again, delivered as a downloadable STL file for your 3D printer. This level also qualifies you for free stretch goals number 1, 2 and 3. Pledge Level 4 is the castle, so you're getting everything from the previous reward levels, but you're also getting a gatehouse and a drawbridge and castle wall extensions. So you're basically getting an entire castle and village if you go for Pledge Level 4. But what we're really excited about is the stretch goals, because this is where we get to develop a whole load of new buildings and add-ons. So all we need is enough people to support us so that we can design and develop the rest of the city of Winterdale.
What a gnarly castle!
I like this.
Gnarly!
Gnarly. You like that word now, don't
I
you?
do. I do like that word now. Gnarly trees.
It's a very cool product.
It is an awesome collection of fantasy stuff.
Well, it's one of those things that could have been ahead of its time, but I think now's just about the right time for it to land. Yeah, because
I don't know.
3D
I think
printers are making their way into people's homes.
it's still slightly ahead of its time, I think. You know, because 3D printing is becoming very available, but not quite as domesticated as like a gaming console, which is you can
maybe
get
so, but
everywhere.
for your hobbyists, these guys are in on the ground floor. Whenever it really hits and gets into people's home, they're already going to be there with a large catalogue of stuff to actually print out and add to your gaming table.
Well, Lloyd's the smarter one of us in this room, so
All right.
Well,
Let's let him
let me
speak.
just flick over to the screen. Now on the
Yep.
screen, 94 backers have already funded at this point in time when we're filming.
yeah.
So they're well past their funding goal of 500. Is that's New
500
Zealand
New
dollars?
Zealand dollar,
Yep.
yeah.
So I think they're just right at the very cusp of when this technology. It's like we've just basically gone over the lip. And I'm really excited about it. I've been watching this stuff now for, he says a year. I think I've been watching it for about a year because they popped up in the forums and they were posting stuff up about the 3D walls they'd printed and about chemical solutions and stuff you could use that took all the printed marks.
Yeah.
Because when the printer goes like this,
Yeah.
it leaves little tracks.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
they've got like a solution. I don't know if they're still using it, but basically it eats the plastic.
Yeah.
But in doing so, it got rid of
So
the
it very
actual
mildly
marks.
eats it and just takes that rough edge off to
Yes.
give us a clean surface.
Now I can't remember
That's
if
clever.
it's probably not the sort of chemical you want to be getting on your hands and
Probably
stuff like
not.
that, because if
Right.
it eats plastic, it's going to eat you.
Yeah.
But they were working on it. Ben, what do you think of this stuff?
I think this is a really neat idea. I mean, it's allowing them to create all these files, and it's allowing them to be very creative without having to worry about the other side of it, almost. And the fact that, I mean, we're talking about 3D printers in the home. I know that Fab Labs are becoming a lot more of a thing nowadays, so you might even be able to go there and use their expertise to make sure that this stuff actually comes out looking okay as well. Because, I mean, that would be the one worry that I'd have, that I get these files and then not really be able to, print them off okay. But it'd be good to give it a go and see how it all works out.
It's at this point in time, I'm looking at it and going, it could be a hobby in itself, this whole 3D printing stuff. I think it's going to be a huge part of our hobby.
Yeah. Well,
You know, anybody who doesn't think 3D printing is going to have a huge impact isn't really looking at it the way I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it mostly from the point of view of what they're doing. If I scroll down the page, let's see if we can bring up some of their designs and stuff. Right, like the HAMLET, for example. Let me bring that up on screen. That's just perfect. I think 3D printing is going to be perfect for doing scenery and stuff like that. I'm not talking about miniatures and things, but for scenery, it's just perfect.
Yeah, now for this is what I would use for my Kings of War. Because this is a modular system.
Yes.
I can print out the bits I want, and I can start to build a really nice fantasy town in this style for a Kings of War board.
Yes.
And I'm not worried about constantly running back to the shop and getting stock. These guys will never be out of stock because they are just sending you a file.
Well,
And there's no transport, there's no waiting for it. When it's ready, you have it.
well, you might run out of your own plastic,
Oh yeah. No, that's
but
that's
you're
fair
the
enough,
limiting factor.
but- Aye.
Which is the great thing about this Kickstarter. Well, let me touch on that, right? People may be sitting thinking, well, it's digital files, why do they need a Kickstarter?
But it's the time and effort going into creating that digital file. There's a lot of work to creating 3D products.
Yes, the thing about this Kickstarter is it's a great way of getting a lot of people to fund together and go, do you know what, we really like this stuff. Let's give you guys enough money to sit down and, like Justin says, spend the time creating new models and stuff, because it isn't quick. I can 3D model.
Yeah.
And it can take a long time to create stuff as cool as this.
I downloaded a 3D program to my laptop. Now, that was because we were trying to do a specific type of board and I was trying to create a stand for it. So I thought, right, I'll bring down a 3D program, I'll have a play about with it.
Yes.
I spent maybe 6 hours on this program. Do you know what I had made in that time? 3 boxes put together.
I can well believe it.
That's how difficult I found it to actually get everything fitting perfectly.
Because I use a program called Lightwave, and the only reason I picked it up was because Babylon 5 was made in Lightwave back on the Amiga. And I watched Babylon 5, and I had an Amiga. So I started dabbling with that. That's 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe longer, I can't quite remember. But even now, I don't get enough time to sit and practice the craft enough to be able to just sit down and go, I will build this.
Yeah.
Every time I sit down to it, I'm always refreshing my mind as how it's done, or looking at new ways to do stuff. 3D modeling is actually not very easy at all. It's actually quite a steep learning curve to these programs. So
and the more detail you throw in, the longer you're having to expend on it.
So we're going to need people like this, people who make us really cool stuff that we can just download a file and go, click.
Print.
Oh, that's amazing. Rather than downloading the 3D program and 3 years later going,
I give up.
why? I'm just like Justin. I have 3 boxes. I thought I'd have 4 by now, but I still have 3.
But
I got 1 per year.
the other thing is, these guys have no shipping costs. They are not printing this out and sending you a box of stuff.
Yes.
It's coming to you digitally, so there is no getting lost in the post, no import fees.
Yes.
It's just arriving. You know, to me, that's a hell of a bonus.
Which brings me back to my point of why people are maybe going, why do they need to kickstart this? They need to kickstart this because they need to get some money together to be able to take the time to sit down and create their really cool stretch goals. Now, at the end of the video, I think they're further on down.
Yeah.
I'll come back up to these images, but look at these stretch goals.
Yeah.
Things like blacksmiths and some sort of steampunk style terrain as well.
Which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that you can see why they need this investment of time, because to make that stuff look good on the tabletop will take a long time to get right.
A long time.
Yeah.
Their limiting factor is the fact that they need people with, obviously, 3D printers.
Yeah, but say I'm part of a large club.
Yes.
And I turn to the club and say, lads, look at this. Let's all just pal in together. The club buys a 3D printer for us all to use.
Right? And you all get frustrated when one of you breaks it.
Yeah. The first person that uses it breaks it, and the whole
there is one thing
goes,
I'm seeing
what?
on the running order here, which we haven't mentioned. Apparently, you can download the walls absolutely free to try it for yourself.
Yep,
if you back the Kickstarter.
If you back the Kickstarter, right? Fair enough.
Is that right, Ben? I think
I actually think you can download the files just straight from the Kickstarter page. I think
it said something about sharing it or something when I looked at it.
Have a look at it, because if you can actually test this out and decide, oh my god, that's really nice quality. Right, I'm in.
Yeah, well, it's getting to that point where you're looking at 3D printers again and thinking, well, maybe next year we need to take the plunge. because you're talking about Kings of War. I mean, if I just bring up what's on the screen there,
Yeah,
check out the tower and the gnarly trees, Justin.
exactly. Nice
tower-
big blocking line of sight terrain and stuff.
And the gnarly trees are
Yeah.
perfect
Yes,
for your games of Kings of War.
exactly. And then once you have the big citadel and stuff,
Yeah,
Once
which
you have
is-
those
which
files-
is here. Let me bring that up.
yeah, once you have those files, you can print any size of citadel you want. So you could actually print this so that it went in a massive ring around your table and have your armies fighting inside a massive castle.
Yeah,
Tell me that wouldn't be awesome.
assuming you have enough plastic. Now I was reading the page and it said something along the lines of you could print a model for the price of a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing they're talking £3 or £4.
Perhaps.
I don't know if that's the real price, but if it's £3 or £4 for something like you know a big tower, or is it a section of a tower? I guess that's
still not
not
bad.
bad, and the price can only really come down as the adoption level of this stuff goes up. Ben, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a great thing. I think them jumping in at this point is probably just about the right time to do it. With the growth of things like Fab Labs and stuff like that, there's more chances for people to get out there and try it, and it's going to be an emerging way that we get our terrain. So why not embrace it? So
The interesting side of things is because you're getting an STL file,
Yeah.
I could import an STL file into a 3D package and I could alter it.
Right.
Now that'll be interesting to see how that pans out in the future. Obviously, I wouldn't want to take their file, alter it, and sell it on.
Obviously. But
But
you
I
can
would
sort of customize.
Well, would like the idea of maybe importing the castle wall, opening it up, and going, "I'll stick my face on there and make it part of Lloydislavia."
No, I know exactly what he's going to do. John,
Yes.
he's going to add flags and banners.
Well, could 3D print flags and banners?
You could.
That would be
No,
awesome.
but it's nice to be able to do that. From the STL file, can I change that final output to a different format if I have a different type of 3D printer? Or will every 3D printer take an STL file?
Every 3D printer will take an STL file.
Okay,
an STL file is it's an industry standard.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you whatever sort of modeling program you're in, some of them don't natively do it, but you can get plugins that'll take your let's say it was Lightwave.
Yeah.
It creates a file called an OBJ file or something like that.
Right.
And then you can go save as STL.
Okay.
STL. The thing is, if you're doing 3D modeling, you have to model it in such a way as a 3D printer understands the way you've modeled it. You can't just take any model and go save as STL.
Yeah. No, you see, that was just something I was wondering, because it's something they have to consider, because the last thing you want, yes, I love this building, I'm going to buy it. Why will my printer not take this file? What's going on here? You know,
No,
so
it's an
something
industry
they have
standard.
probably had to think about a lot.
It's industry standard.
Okay, that's
I'm,
fine.
I'm assuming that all 3D printers will just take an STL file,
Okay.
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
which is really
Okay.
cool. It does open. It opens. I don't know. The future, you're just looking at going, well, where do we stand? Because I've talked about it in the past. 3D printing will revolutionize
Yeah.
the miniatures market. I don't think from a miniatures point of view. I certainly think from a terrain point of view, definitely will.
Definitely.
Definitely will.
And I'll assume there's no limits on this. You know, I don't think there's any way to impose a limit on how many times you can print this out.
No, I don't think there's any digital rights system in so much as you can download your STL file and it goes, you can only print this 3 times before it self-destructs. I don't think there's anything like that.
Yeah, so basically you don't have to worry about, that bit's broken, that didn't print right.
Being realistic, let's go back to Justin's point about a club.
Aye.
A club's probably is the way to go.
Yeah.
It's a club together.
A club or
buy
your
a 3D
local
printer.
hobby store. If your local hobby store got one in, and you said, right, I want to take it over for, say, a couple of weekends and just print out a pile of stuff on it. Here's what I'm using in materials. I have my file here, let's plug that in and off we go.
A hobby store with a 3D printer would be kind of cool, because all they'd have to do is say, you know, the hobby store could charge you for the roll of plastic
Yes.
and say an X amount of time, because obviously the machine requires power and stuff. So
Yeah. You might even
Basically,
get some.
it's like a geek-focused Fab Lab in that respect, isn't it? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
it works out. So.
Yeah. The other thing
It's
is,
a bit limited though. It's like the internet, where all the internet cafes popped up because nobody had the internet at home.
yeah,
There will
And
be a
then
limited
everybody-
lifespan to this business. Say
Maybe
I
so, but
say I had a model, I had my own model shop,
Right.
and I bought 2 3D printers and I stuck them in, and I says, okay, it costs £3 to print this model, but I'll charge you 4, make £1, blah blah blah, and
Aye.
profit, blah blah blah. You run it through whatever the prices are.
Yeah.
That could be going great guns for 3 or 4 years,
right?
and then just be gone.
Yes, but if,
Like broadband, for example,
Aye.
just killed what internet calves were left.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you bring those in, say I didn't bring in 2, say I thought, no, if I bring in 2, I'm not making my money back in those 3 years. I'll bring in 1, and that'll let me make my money back on it.
The difference would be that it's more difficult to manage a 3D printer and actually get it to function and print stuff properly than it is to just sit down and browse the internet.
Yeah.
Once your internet connection's up and running, your engineer comes around and does it.
True.
You get your mate over because you don't know anything about computers, and he fixes it up and says, there you go. Most of the time, you're running for months and months and months on end
Yeah,
until a virus takes you out, and then you have to ring someone up and go, come on, fix this.
yeah.
Whereas with a 3D printer, you can't just walk in and use it. But then I guess that's where it might work, in so much as the person in the shop who's actually had time to use it may have the technique to be able to go, well, you can go buy that 3D printer yourself for 100 quid, but you'll waste £300 worth of materials trying to figure out how to use it.
I think it could be a direction forward. It really depends on whether or not we get a lot of companies like Printable Scenery doing this kind of thing. So if they start to provide the files, and a lot more companies start providing the files for stuff, then we will see people adopt 3D printers in clubs and things like that, because they'll want to print all this stuff off. If this is still in this early stage and it stays like this for a while, I think we may have to just rely on those 3D printing labs that already exist at the moment and whatever people buy in their homes. But yeah.
From a miniatures point of view, though, it would be fantastic.
Yes.
If 3D printers get to the point where they print off really good looking miniatures that you don't have to do a lot of sanding to or chemical work to try and make them look really good, because you can have ranges like that they just are never in stock.
Yeah.
Or if they've had shipping problems.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't happen anymore.
It's the other thing. These guys have no manufacturing overheads either.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
for actually creating a physical product.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist. It's just, here's your file.
Right. I'm going to move us on because we have another Kickstarter to talk about called Wormhole.
Okay.
Which is an interesting one. It's from Epic Penguin Studios. Have a look at this video.
We're avid gamers here at EPS, and we can't help but come up with new ideas for games on a near daily basis. Wormhole is the first game that we've developed at this level of completion, and we love to play it with our friends. We can't wait to get it into your hands so you can enjoy it as much as we do. In Wormhole, players advance along a spiral track that ends at the center of the board. However, unlike other board games, the goal is not to reach the end, but instead to stay on the board for as long as possible. This is made increasingly difficult as the game progresses, as players collect cards that push them forward and back, and even make them switch places with other players. There are also max cards that increase the number of dice you have to roll on each turn. Our record here is 6, which can get ugly real quick, but doesn't necessarily mean you're doomed to lose. That's because there are also cards that you can hold on to use at your discretion and turn a bad situation for you into a bad situation for someone else. When a player reaches the center of the board, they are out, devoured by the wormhole and sent to some unknown location in time and space. Each player gets a card from them at random, and the game continues until only one player remains. That player is the winner and is free to fly off, and most likely get stuck in another wormhole.
Okay, so Wormhole looks really cool. Really, really cool. What? Wait. What was that noise? Oh, I could have swore I heard 1,000 miniature collectors all cry out in pain at once. Yes, it's a little board game with no miniatures. Actually, this one does kind of have little miniatures.
Kinda.
You've got the spaceships.
Kind of little spaceships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ben, it's a bit like one of them. It's basically a Euro style game thing, isn't it?
Well, it's more Ameritrash in the sense that you use these. It's all based on these dice rolls that you're doing every turn. So what will happen is on your turn, you'll roll the dice to see where you move, and you'll draw cards from 3 different decks. These cards will all have different effects and things like that. And as the video explains, you're trying to stay out of the center of the wormhole. You're trying to keep away as much as possible. So,
actually, now that you mention it, you're right, because you're competing to stay out of the wormhole, aren't you?
yeah.
Whereas
yeah.
if this was more of a European style game, it would be everybody helping everybody else and not necessarily competing. It's just
there's a lot of
it.
there's a lot of screw you over and stuff like that in this game, which is more accompanied the whole Ameritrash ideal and stuff. So yeah.
Well, I kind of like it. I like it because it's the sort of game I could sit down with my other half and go, do you want to play this? And she'd be like, oh, how does it play? What do you do? And I'd be like, it's really easy to understand. It's the last person to get sucked into the hole wins. What's complicated about that?
I suppose.
The problem is I'm not sure if it has any legs. I mean, how many times can you play a game
There
where you
is
don't want to
already
get
an
sucked into
expansion
a hole?
for this game in the actual Kickstarter, as far as I understand it.
So yeah, in the game you've got these 3 different card decks I think are really interesting, and these will sort of change the way in which the game has this legs thing that you're talking about. So I think that one of the interesting things about it is that every turn you'll draw these random cards from these different decks, and this will mean that coming back to it every time, there'll be different tactics that you'll be trying to go for. So maybe you'll hold on to more green cards, which will prevent you from getting affected by the red ones, or maybe you'll try and use more red ones to affect other players. And I mean, they've got the blue mass cards as well, which they talked about, and this is what speeds up this crazy descent into the center of the wormhole, because the more they give you mass, and once you get to 100, and each 100 increment, you roll another dice, and I think that could sort of add to this sort of craziness of this, and I think that's where this will shine in that respect.
I think you're right there, Ben. I shouldn't. In my mind, I'm looking at it going, I'm going around a spiral into a hole.
Yeah.
I'm going around a spiral into a hole
Every time.
But I'm forgetting that I'm going around a spiral and I'm shoving you further.
Yeah.
Shoving myself
or
back.
you're putting on the air brakes to try and drag yourself back away.
Yes, I'm forgetting the interactions between players. It's not just plod.
And like I said, there is an expansion for this that you can get on the Kickstarter.
Yes, and what sort of expansion is this?
I'm not sure. I was reading through and I saw it just whenever I was reading through the pledge levels.
Yes.
So I know there is one. I don't know what it
let's
is
go
quite
to the
yet.
pledge
Ben?
levels. Viewpoint now.
On the tier 3,
Yes.
one
One
copy
copy.
of Warp Space expansion deck.
Yeah. So
Tier 3 also includes designing a card for it, which is kind of funky, yeah.
yeah. So this game has add-ons.
Their problem is, though, it's quite a hefty goal for this game.
Yeah.
Where were we at?
On up.
As it stands at the minute, $3,692 at the time of filming.
Yeah.
But they need $45,000. It's quite a hefty goal. What do you think, Ben? Do you think they're going to make that?
I'd hope they do, because I think it's an interesting game. I'm not sure whether or not they will with a goal of that size. I mean, there is a game that's a little similar to this. The name escapes me at the moment, but it involves a little bit of this sort of circular mechanic towards the center kind of thing, and that's all about escaping like a gravity well type thing. This adds more in with the event cards and stuff like that, so I can see what they are going for. As I say, I'd love to see this on the tabletop, and I'd really love to play it. Hopefully, they make their goal. So
Yeah, it's the sort of game. I don't know if I'd back this.
Yeah.
But we can get to that at the end. It's the sort of game that I would look at. I would wander through a shop and go, that looks interesting. I'll lift it up. I don't know if they're going to capture, if they would capture people's imagination enough to go, I'm going to back that.
Yeah, I suppose.
Rather than just that impulse buy of walk into a store. Ooh, wormhole. What's that all about? Oh, it looks shiny. I'll buy that.
Yeah.
What do you think, Ben? I mean, is it the sort of thing that would they be able to convince you to back this?
I don't think I'd back it. I think I'm with you in the sense that I would pick this up if it was in a game store, or if I'd played it with some friends, maybe I'd add it to my collection. It'd be one that I'd have to sit down and play maybe 2 or 3 times to get a feel for how it played and things like that. But
Yeah.
I as I say, looks really interesting. I can imagine the sort of back and forth between players as they're saying, "Oh no, please don't play it on me. Please don't play that card on me. I don't want to get sucked further in or something. Or I'll protect you or something with the next card." I can see that being fun. So.
Yeah. It doesn't pull me into the point where I'll wait months for it to be delivered. Although I do see the estimated delivery date is April 2016, which isn't that
That's
far
not
away.
bad, no.
And that's probably because the game is actually developed. Because in the video they're saying we've already developed this. We just need to cover the cost of having developed it so we can start shipping it.
So that we can do a production run.
It just feels like an impulse buy.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I kind of agree there as well.
I don't know. I could see myself sitting at the club playing through this with a few of the members. You know, it looks like a game that you could have fun, have a few laughs, you know, screw each other over. That's the kind of games I like, because it's not just the mechanics of the game that have to stand up. It's being able to interact with the other players and have fun while you're doing it.
Well, it definitely does look fun. I mean, 20 minutes to 60 minutes, 2 to 8 players. If you got 8 people to sit down, that's a good drinking game. And in the vid, they basically have the whole the
whole
iconic
thing, the
pub
whole
shot,
beer
don't
and
they?
pretzels thing going
and pickles.
on. And pickles.
Ugly looking pickles for some reason in the middle of the table. I don't know. I think I'm gonna leave it at there. We can come back and we can pick a Kickstarter towards the end. I'm gonna move us on because there's something else that popped up. Ben, do you want to describe this a little bit before we watch the video? It's the Slavic one.
Yeah, so this is by Daraj Studios. I hopefully got the name right, didn't butcher it. But it's a range of miniatures that are 32mm scale, and they're all Slavic fantasy historical miniatures. And there's also a game based around it as well.
Okay, cool, right. Let's see the vid, and then we'll be back to chat about it.
My name is Anderson of Daraj Studios. This project is for a line of 32mm scale Slavic fantasy miniatures, sculpted by professionals in the field, and cast in the highest quality resin. These miniatures are inspired by Slavic folklore, such as Baba Yaga, Vlad the Impaler, and more. They are suitable for collectors, as well as for use in various pen and paper RPGs and proxies in wargames. In addition to being miniatures in their own right, these figures are featured in the in-development tabletop game by Daraj Studios, called Portals, Worlds Collide, a strategy skirmish game of fallen gods and colonization. Every pledge, regardless of amounts, will be emailed a PDF of the beta rules for this game at the end of the campaign.
Yeah, cool. Looks pretty cool. I mean, Slavic miniatures, Ben, you don't often get those popping up on the internet, do you?
No, I mean, that was one of the reasons why this was sort of picked for the show today, is that it's a range of miniatures and a range of mythology and stuff that you don't really see away from something sort of historical when they look at like things like Cossacks, but actually bringing in things like the Baba Yaga, which is the witch from sort of Ukrainian and Eastern European mythology and things like that. I think it'd be really interesting to see where this goes and sort of the fluff and stuff that they draw on. I think it'd be really good. Yeah,
I'm kind of keen on this as well. I wonder if I browse down here, does it have any of the characters and stuff?
Yeah, you've got some of the artwork there.
Let me bring that back up. I really like the shapes of the I don't know what they're called. What would you call these pants? These puffy pants?
What are the puffy pants called?
Tucked into their boots and stuff.
Pantaloons?
I don't know. Maybe they are called pantaloons.
I think that's what it is. Comment below, everybody.
I really like the shape of it all there. Yeah. It looks really cool.
Well, as I say, it's a very Cossack-y type style that you probably would have seen in films and things like that. And it's something that doesn't really get drawn on, as I say. So.
Yeah,
like this lady here, for example, she's got the whole pantaloons thing going on.
Yeah,
it's reminiscent of a. There was this cartoon that I used to watch as a kid, where it was like these trolls and they were hunting down gnomes, and I think it came out of sort of the Slavic part of Europe, and they were all dressed like that.
Okay.
And there's a point where the big troll's like smashing up the whole gnome army, ma. He's killing everyone, but he's not. He's just smashing up a load of mushrooms. He's convinced that they're all gnomes.
See, here's your problem right now, Lloyd.
Yes.
Warren's not here, so you just have myself and John.
He can't back you up on this fond memory you have.
You're not going to take a trip down memory lane with me about trolls?
Before my memories began.
Clearly wasn't one that I experienced.
Not and mushrooms.
not one that myself or John have seen, apparently.
Anyway, yes. What draws me to this Kickstarter is the sculptors. Patrick Keith. Patrick Keith's known for Counterblast, which is Bombshell Miniatures, if I'm correct.
Yeah, that's the one. Yep. Yeah, so he's already got a good pedigree behind him.
Yeah. And he caught me on one of the weekenders wearing the Bombshell t-shirt and absolutely fell in love with me. He was like, look, he's wearing my stuff, and he's like been chatting to me ever since. So I know the caliber of sculptor that's going on in there is going to be really good.
Well, that's a big plus for it then.
Yes, absolutely.
Because he does do very, very beautiful work.
That's how you know that, because sitting here for a minute going, what's just happened? I feel like I'm on University Challenge.
That's how we felt.
Got really knowledgeable.
That's how we felt 45 seconds ago with you talking about trolls and mushrooms.
I'm staying out of this one. I know I'm between them, but I'm staying out of this one.
Yeah, I think this is really intriguing looking.
I do love the little archers.
Yes.
They're very, very nice.
I have no idea what these guys are.
An alchemist, I believe, of some sort.
Grenadiers have sworn loyalty to Baba Yaga's court. So I would assume they are grenadiers.
Yes.
Okay.
Because they're in the traditional style of a grenadier holding a grenade.
Yes.
Which is where the term came from.
Okay.
Grenadiers.
But I think it's going to get really, really interesting. I've just brought up, Ben, you can't see it, but I've just brought up the witch,
Baba Yaga,
who seems to be in her own cauldron or something.
Yeah, that's the whole thing with Baba Yaga. She does have a big pot that she travels around in.
See, I have no idea who this. What is it, Baba Yaga?
Baba Yaga.
Yeah, what is this Baba Yaga?
Ben, I'll leave this one to you.
Well, as far as I know, she's an Eastern European witch. It's their version of the witch, and they go around stealing children and things, a little bit like how Western European ones do. It's actually not a pot; it's like a mortar and pestle that she grinds things up in, and so usually you see it portrayed with blood flowing out of this mortar and pestle. It's very grisly. Yeah.
Oh, it does sound grisly. And what's with the big chicken?
This is our home.
Yeah, I think this is just an invention of their own thing. I think they just wanted something crazy for her to live in, so they made a big, huge, mechanical, undead rooster house.
Why not? Why not? I'm living in a fantasy world. Let's create something completely off the wall.
Do you know what they've done? They've outdone Weird Miniatures on this. Do you know that Weird Miniatures brought out the goblin riding the rooster?
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
They've totally just went, well, we can do one better than that. We can have a witch living in one.
Why not?
It's going to be big. I mean, we could have chicken versus Gargantuan.
Well, they're saying there on the page it's going to be about 5.5 inches tall, that model.
Yeah, that's not bad.
It's a pretty substantial model.
That's maybe a little big, Lloyd.
It's not big enough to beat off a
that's still maybe a little big.
Is it?
That's still maybe a little big.
Ben, what do you think then? Closing notes on this Kickstarter.
I'm really interested in this one. I think it would be good to see how far the game goes as well, because as the guy says in the video, there's like a quick start rules that you can get for it now. It's called Portals Worlds Collide. There's some interesting mechanics and stuff in there that are worth taking a look at. I mean, one of them, it's a lot more. It's not so random as other games that you might play at this sort of skirmish level. There's a lot of more like clear definition between things. So like there are set numbers that are used for attacking and defending and things like that. Not so much dice rolling, but it's been really interesting because it's got a few tweaks and things that you should check out.
Let me quickly scroll down. There is a set of videos on here somewhere, isn't there?
Yeah, there you go.
There's some description and gameplay going on as well.
So if it's intriguing you at all, scroll down to this, because first time I looked at this page, I didn't even realize there was how to play videos up there. And then suddenly you would right up on my radar, and I was like, oh, there is an actual game. I know it was mentioned in the video, but it didn't really sink in that there was an actual game system up and running. Ben, have you had a chance to watch any of these videos? I know before filming I wanted to watch them, but I didn't quite get the chance this weekend. I'm probably going to, after the show, sit down and have a look through some of these, because I'm quite intrigued by it. I love their little windmill terrain and stuff that they've got going.
That's quite cool.
What do you think?
I watched some of the videos earlier. Really clear videos. They get across the game mechanics quite nicely. I think it'd be good to actually sit down and maybe have those on in the background while you're reading through the rulebook and stuff. It's always helpful to do that, I think. And it'll give you a feel for the game. And then maybe you'll pick up the miniatures for the game as well as for the other roles that they say. So for like role-playing games and things. So yeah.
Cool. Spot on. Right.
My pick for this week has to be Winter. I love the idea of it. I love the look of it.
Jono, your pick of the Kickstarters.
Slavic Fantasy Miniatures, actually.
Really?
Yeah, because, well, I'm not into painting scenery.
Alright.
I'm not into painting tiny little ships on a gigantic whirlpool board.
Fair enough.
So the Fantasy Miniatures has me, definitely.
Okay.
Ben, what are you thinking?
I would say that my favourite would have to... I'm going to go for the Slavic Fantasy Miniatures. I think would be mine. Yeah.
Slavic Fantasy Miniatures.
Yeah.
I think we're going to have a tie, because I would have to go with Winterdale.
Thank you. I'm not alone.
And as I'm controlling the desk and all, I declare Winterdale the winners. In a tiebreaker situation. There you have it. Let us know in the comments below about all the news items and stuff that we've been talking about this week. Let us know which Kickstarters appeal to you. Let us know what you were thinking of the plugs and stuff that we've been working on.
Yes, parts to paint it.
Yep. And if you've enjoyed the show, remember there's a backstage version of the show. It's not an extended version. It's like a whole new show on Backstage on the Sunday morning. You can find more about it if you come on over to Beasts of War, create an account. If you create a free account, you can do a 7-day free trial. Ben,
yeah, we still have that.
Yeah, you can do. Still up there, yeah.
Yeah, so you've got 7 days to jump in, see what you think. And there's a whole load of other stuff up there, paint tutorials.
We have a massive library of stuff.
Videos about how games play.
Yeah, we have Game Designer Studios, which is where we sit down with some of the industry veterans and actually talk about how they got into gaming and how they got to where they are in the industry today, which are very interesting.
There is a very interesting one. Is it next week it's going out?
It's around Christmas time. Around Christmas time, I'm going to say, because Warren got to sit down with John Paul Brizzigotti from Battlefront while we were having the Team Yankee boot camp. And I've watched through this. it was a brilliant discussion to actually hear how he got into the industry and how he worked his way up through to where he is today. But you'll have to wait and see that when it comes out.
Excellent stuff. So backstage or something to look forward to over Christmas. Right, I'm going to call it at that because we have another show to be getting on with.
Yep.
Have a great weekend's gaming, and we hope to see you tomorrow.
Keep your blaster handy, the West is a dangerous place. Fight to survive as men turn to monsters and the dead rise on the Wild West Exodus Hub at beastsofwar.com. Become a general of mighty armies at the Kings of War Hub. Take command of elves, dwarves and orcs in this game of massed fantasy combat on beastsofwar.com.